I'm Nick.
I'm Rich.
We're from the Secret Compartment.
And this is our top 5 favorite toys? Favorite toys?
It ain't our top 6.
Top 6, top 7.5. You'll get it.
The Secret Compartment is a toy YouTube show for people who hate toy YouTube shows. It's not a Zoom call show. It's not a I'm shopping with a body cam strapped to my chest show. It's more like a show that you would actually watch on TV.
If you're a fan of like Space Ghost Coast to Coast and also toys, you probably really dig the Secret Compartment.
Yeah, you're not always going to learn anything, but you're going to laugh and you're going to be entertained.
And even if you don't laugh, and even if you're not entertained, you could at least appreciate the love and care that goes into this, or maybe not. Sorry if all of those don't apply.
Care.
You know, I was being a little cheeky earlier with the top 5 favorites because, as Nick and I were talking about earlier, that's a really hard thing to quantify or like really nail down, like what is your favorite. So I think we both kind of curated a loose kind of assemblage of things that are our favorites right now that may be kind of thematically tied together. So we have, you know, if you've seen the toy news, if you've been up on all the latest happenings, you'll know that Mask is back. Loyal Subjects re-released Mask, but what they didn't re-release are these guys, and these are Mask, and as you'll see, they are a close approximation of our popular Mask guys, but not quite, hence Mask. And what they are actually unique, like completely unrepurposed molds of very popular Mask characters, including Miles Mayhem and Matt Tracker, and 5 points of articulated figures here. I'm gonna hold one at a time here. So there they are. They're all very recognizable color schemes, and they have removable masks. And there they are. Look at that. Like, there he is.
He looks like Marty McFly as Darth Vader.
He does. He absolutely does. Here's Miles Mayhem. He's got a great big stocky mold, and his mask comes off too, and he looks kind of surprised to be unmasked. Oh, whoa, what's up? Who turned the lights on? And there's a Matt Tracker there too. Look at that. And these are actually, if you can kind of get a look at the actual head sculpt, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. There's clearly a lot of care that went into these absolute bootleg versions of Masked characters. Like, someone out there really had an affinity for this toy line.
They look like they came from an alternate universe where the toy line veered more into the animated designs than it did the toy.
Yes!
It's like, it's almost like a weird, like a portal opened up and these fell through from a different
You can kind of imagine, like Nick said, you can kind of imagine that, you know, a more recognizable toy line might have made these 40 years ago. The sad ironic thing is, like, there were no vehicles made to accompany this bootleg line. Well, there were, but they did not transform, and they were about the same size as the figures themselves. And I think we're kind of just thrown in to be like, remember they actually came with vehicles, you know, so yeah. So anyway, these guys are really tough to find, and they were on my top of my grail list for a minute, and then I was lucky enough to find the entire set one day at a local toy store, and I'm a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of any weird bootleg quirky stuff, but these guys in particular, so there you go. Mask!
Number 5 on my top 5 countdown comes in with Count Heahart from Blurt Balls. Blurt Balls is a kind of under-the-radar line from Ertl, of all companies, and from the very early 90s, designed by the same creative minds that did Mad Balls a few years earlier. And in a lot of ways, Blurt Balls are kind of a massive improvement on Mad Balls.
I was going to say, my hot take is that they are overall a superior line.
They're not nearly as iconic, and I do think the line if I have one critique of Blurp Balls, it's that the line veers a little too much into like goofy animals, whereas like Mad Balls was like deep in the paint on just cretins and mutants and monsters. But there's a couple strong heavy hitters in this line. My number one favorite is Count Heahart. Like I was saying to my girlfriend the other day, because she was like, why that? And I said, well, look at it. Like, it's beautiful. Like, this is visual perfection. And the whole conceit of the line is that you're supposed to squeeze them, and everything has like its own kind of signature item tied into its whatever its theme is, crammed in its mouth, and you're supposed to squeeze it, and it flies out. It doesn't really work that well, and I'm not really motivated to do it anyway, because that just means you're going to project it somewhere. It's going to land on the floor, pick up dust, get scraped, whatever. So whatever, I'm not really into actually playing with it, as opposed I just want to look at how, again, gorgeous it is. But this guy, he has a heart, a disgusting heart that I guess you can assume he savagely tore out of the chest of one of his victims. And he would be chewing on it, you know, having his breakfast, and then he sees out the window that his neighbor's dog is lawn and Frankenstein! Get your Franken dog off my lawn! But that's not going to happen because I really can't get the feature to work. But again, I cannot stress this enough. It's not about the play feature. Just, it's about the item. Put it in a cabinet. Put a light on it. See how beautiful it is. Look at him. Is this not one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen?
Coming in at number 4, we have an example of Cronenbergian body horror on Saturday morning. That is Turbo Teen. And for all of you out there in internet land who don't know what Turbo Teen is, run to YouTube right away and look it up. It is an absolutely batshit crazy cartoon about a kid in a car who gets struck by lightning, and he gets fused to his car, and then he can transform into his car, and the transformation of him turning into his car is one of the most hilariously horrifying animated things you'll ever see. And they, the fine folks at Monogram decided to make a model kit out of this incredibly short-lived animated series. And there you see our protagonist hero kind of in mid-car transformation form. He actually did not ever look like this. He either looked like him or he looked like the car. But,
you know, with toys, certain compromises.
Yeah, it's really hard to capture the essence of what his whole shtick was in a static picture on a box, but I think you get the idea. He's a kid who turns into a car. The model kit has never been put together because I don't really want to affect the pristine condition that I was able to find this model kit in.
Why would you want to enjoy it?
Right. I mean,
why would you do that to yourself?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I saw that this existed on the internet years ago. I think probably all the way back when we were working on toys. And I thought it was like a joke, like a bit. I thought someone like, you know, like, oh, what if they made a Turbo Teen model kit? So I was like, that can't be real. Monogram would never actually do that. But then I found out, oh no, it actually exists. It's just impossible to find. So I kind of just chalked it up as, you know, maybe if the stars align and I'm somewhere, you know, at like a flea market and someone has one and they don't know what they have, maybe I can get it. But no, I actually managed to find one in amazing, you know, unused, fantastic condition. And again, you know, this is what dreams are made of. Turbo Teen model kits.
Number 4 on the list is this guy from the Terrifiers line. He does not have a name. There are 3 vehicles in this line, and the whole theme being that they are like monstrous vehicles. Buddy L, as you may or may not know, primarily made
Chargertron.
There's 3 things that Buddy L did that anybody needs to give a shit about, and one of them was Chargertron. The other one was Flash Frights, and the other thing is the Terrifiers. Other than that, you're just gonna get a lot of boring like tractors and pickup trucks with horses in them and like toys for kids who read. The thing about Terrifiers that's interesting is you've got these 3 vehicles that they light up and they make the noise. There's 3, and for 2 of the 3, they chose to go with kind of this like vague, nondescript monster thing. Like this guy looks like maybe a dragon. This guy looks like some kind of a griffin, I guess. And like that's fine. That's kind of like, it's like fantasy based. They're fine. But then it's like for the 3rd one, they went straight for the jugular. They said, okay, we're going to make Death Incarnate as a vehicle. And so this is another thing that's kind of like the Blurt Ball in that it's just so goddamn beautiful. It's a Grim Reaper car. It's just such genius design. He's holding his scythe up over his head, over his shoulder, and it works into the design of the car as a spoiler. And it's like, ugh.
This thing makes the Dragula look like a Ford Pinto.
Who's Dragula?
Exactly.
You know, when you see this guy. Okay, so then the noise he makes.
Did they steal that from Hallmark?
That's my point, is like, if you were around in like the late 80s, early 90s,
Everything made that.
everything sold at Hallmark store or Target for Halloween made that noise. So like this perfectly dates this thing, because you're like, I know exactly when that was made, because there was a very finite window of time where there were products made that made that noise. Anyway, Buddy L Terrifiers, one of the 3 lines you need to waste your time worrying about.
And money.
Other than that, it's even more of a waste of time. And this Grim Reaper car is, of the 3 of the Terrifiers, by far the superior one. And that's why he's number 4 on my list of top 5 toys.
I'm gonna get real with you, fam, for a minute. Myself, like many of you, I'm sure, often need guidance in my life because I tend to go off the rails and I need something to center me and help me understand my place in the universe. And for many years I was lost until I found God, Jesus, and now I have someone to help me, someone to answer those tough questions in life and to tell me that my life is just a continually spiraling train wreck that will only get worse. God Jesus does not pull punches, but he is a robot, and he does have a cross to really kind of emphasize his divinity. And this was made by our friends at Bandai back in the 80s as sort of a like a divination sort of gimmick, or much like a Ouija board or a magic 8-ball. He would tell you your fortune, or in a more literal sense, he would basically just shake his head yes or no when you asked him questions. And there's our little guy now. He has a classic 80s robot sort of aesthetic, and his abilities are kind of highlighted here on the box. You've got this young man, this helpless young man, praying to God Jesus to see if his crush will say yes or no when he asks her to the prom. And spoilers, she's going to say no, and it's going to break his heart.
Doing him a favor, really.
Yeah, I mean, look at him. And there's a flip side of our gal, and God Jesus has smiled brightly on her. Her life's going to be okay. Now, I don't have batteries in this guy right now because A, I'm woefully unprepared, and I don't want them leaking into his battery compartment, but were he to turn on, he would, scoot along a surface, and he would either shake his head yes or turn his head no. Again, one of these things that I knew existed and was just always such a far-fetched grail of an item because they do not come up often, and certainly not in this kind of pristine condition. But, patience pays off, and, you just hold on to your dreams, kids, and one day, you'll find God Jesus at your doorstep. ready to help you through all those trials and tribulations. You're welcome.
I'm an atheist.
Do you have a question?
I'm an atheist. I have no opinion on that.
God, Jesus smites you.
Number 3, bringing up the middle ground, right in the middle. Maybe not the best, but certainly not the worst, depending on who you ask, is the Demon Flyer from the Dragon Riders of the Styx line, or as I like to call it, the Temu D&D line. The thing I love so much about this toy, aside from it's so like unabashedly iconic. Well, for about 12 people, it's iconic, but most I wouldn't say it's iconic.
12 people that matter.
They're far more iconic toys in a mainstream sense. This thing just has a really fantastic, wonderful, striking design. Bright red, piercing yellow eyes, gaping mauve fangs. Like, this is Satanic Panic condensed into plastic. Like, this is an entire decade of mass hysteria cast and molded into plastic. And I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's evil, it's metal, it's devious. The thing that makes this thing so charming to me, because for as cool as it is, it's also really hokey and silly. This looks exactly like something you would get into at like a weird dark ride on the pier or something. Granted, a very elaborate version, but like, so it's like, I don't really know, like, canonically what is supposed to be happening here. It's called Dragon Riders of the Styx. And granted, this may not specifically be a dragon, but there are other creatures and there is a dragon. But they're all designed like this. They're all designed like very elaborate theme park ride passenger cars. In my adult life, that layer of aesthetic has been what's enamored me the most. It's just because I love theme parks so much. It's just like, oh, this is the theme park that I would sell my soul to go to. Again, that's a big part of the draw for me, because like clearly there's a disconnect between the intended impact of what this is supposed to be versus what it actually is. And it's also a fun kind of commentary on like the compromises of toy design, and having to, you know, how do you make these things playable? How do you make them work? And obviously maybe there was a decision made that, like, you know, you come into an issue of articulation. Like, oh, if he's gonna like straddle this, like he's got to have a wide stance. So do we have to have another? Do we have added articulation on this guy so that he can like go bow-legged and ride on this back? And you know, someone was just like, they were sitting around looking at the designs, and someone was like, why don't you just put a hole in it?
Just give him a bench.
Let him sit
there.
Let him sit there. Just let him sit there. You know, obviously, I said this is Temu D&D. D&D did kind of take a similar approach, but they did kind of they did the Kenner Star Wars thing where you put the figure in the back of the mount, but then there's like a piece over the top that connects that lines up with their hip, that is like a pair of legs molded on. So essentially you plug him in, but there's already a molded piece that looks like legs straddling over the beast, so it looks like they are riding it. They didn't even bother doing that for this. That was too much work. But again, that's the charm of it. The hokiness, the silliness, the complete and utter stupidity. This is truly one of my favorite toys.
Alright, so we're going to keep it weird with my number 2. And some of you who watched my earlier video for Roger on his channel may have seen a little spoiler. This came in at the post-credits of my episode, but it is the Universe Fighting Cock, aka the Space Cock. And no, get your minds out of a gutter, it's a rooster. It's a space rooster. And
does God Jesus know about this?
I feel like if we put these two together, it would be like, you know, the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper.
Sounds like you got a confession. I was waiting for you.
Yeah. So, where to begin? As with many of these items in my collection, I came across this originally on some random ass weirdo toy blog or some arcane list of stuff that's, you know, so weird it's true, and instantly decided that I needed to find one while I'm still here on this earth, and through a lot of patience and digging and perseverance, I found one. It's a rooster, a robotic rooster. There he is right there. He has inside his little cockpit a very Super Sentai looking pilot, and that entire cockpit lights up. There, there he is. You can see his little Blue Ranger pilot in there, ready to battle whatever nefarious enemies the space cock encounters on his travels through the cosmos. And his wings can flap here. What's not to love? It's
a beautiful toy. It's a beautiful cock.
It's a beautiful cock. I mean, a very handsome, majestic cock with missiles and you know,
turgid.
Yes. And you know, he's got this very kind of like placid expression on his face. He's not aggressive unless you step to him in a way that he deems unsuitable.
Well, he's rather cocksure.
I mean, it really checks all the boxes. If you like robot toys, Space Cock is for you. If you like poultry toys, Space Cock is for you. If you like Super Sentai, Space Cock is for you. I mean, basically, he appeases cock aficionados of all walks of life.
Number 2 on the countdown. This may be number 2, but this is far from. This is a fantastic toy from the Body Wars line. This is Skull Scanner. Now, if you don't know, Toy Max Toys, by the way, everyone's favorite toy company. This is circa 94. Couple things. First of all, this doesn't strike me as a 1994 toy.
No.
It very much feels like an 80s gross out toy, but you have to view this through the lens of it being a Mighty Max knockoff. And when you look at it that way, it makes a lot more sense, because Mighty Max 94 was about when Mighty Max was like really at its peak of popularity. But the conceit of this line is that much like Mighty Max, these are little creatures or objects that open up to reveal a little playset. These are less of like, whereas Mighty Max opens up to like it's supposed to be a scene, a location. But first of all, the entire line is comprised of organs, bodily organs. It's disgusting and it's wonderful, or educational, depending on how you want to look at it. Inside of each organ is like a command center. So you're not so much opening up to reveal like a scene, as much as like, this is very literally a command center that just happens to look like a skull, or a heart, or a lung, or an eyeball, or most disgustingly, a stomach, or a brain. I've had a strong Body Wars collection for years now. This guy has evaded me for many years. He has slipped through my fingers 3 times, and I just recently was able to finally lock this guy in. Of all places, he came from the Czech Republic. And for some weird reason, almost all of these that I have seen come up on eBay have been in the Czech Republic. So I don't know what that's all about. Something about the distribution of this line. I don't know if they're just a large shipment of the skulls went to the Czech Republic or something. There's a story there that I would love to find out. But the thing that's so special about this is this item, as of the day we are shooting this item literally showed up at my house yesterday. So this is my newest, as of right now, this is my newest acquisition, and I could not be happier to finally close out the line. I'm going to take him home today, and I, like the other 5, and if this is going to offend you, put your earmuffs on, I'm going to cut this sucker open. And he's going in the cabinet with his 5 buddies, and
right, deal with it.
If you've got a problem, I'm here at Rich's house. Come fight me. Spacecock and Jesus Botter here, they got my back.
Golly jeepers, how to close out my top 5 today? Well, considering the loose theme that I've got going here, I can think of no other way than to dive into my cottage collection of bootleg specific Robocop items and pull out this lovely hunk of plastic. Probably my favorite bootleg Robocop item in my collection, a spray bottle. Because when you're cleaning your windows on a typical Sunday afternoon, listening to your Basil Polidaris soundtrack to Robocop,
Lots of clanging.
you're going to want to use this bad boy. That is a functional spray bottle, but the sculpt is our boy RB in one of the more, close approximations to Robocop. Some of the bootlegs can get pretty out there.
Open to interpretation.
But this one is pretty recognizable as Robocop. With the inexplicable amounts of bootleg Robocop items there are, many of them coming from South America, I've always been hunting for like the weirdest example of such thing, and this, I think, to this point takes the cake, because there was, obviously some sort of creative process that went into this. Someone was just like, you know what consumer product we haven't tapped into yet? Spray bottles. And the Robocop fans are demanding cleaning products. So this one I got at, I believe it was PowerCon, years and years and years ago. I've never taken him out of the bag because the card itself, ironically enough, from the Kenner Ultra Police line of Robocop figures based on the animated series. So really it's kind of just an amalgamation of weirdness. Relatively recently, I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Peter Weller in person at the LA Breakfast Club. He was there to do a presentation on his doctorate in art history, and he was open enough to also discuss Robocop, and he was so enamored by this piece that I brought in to show him. He actually recorded an entire video about it on his own socials and had the pleasure of signing the card as well. So my favorite piece of bootleg Robocop memorabilia is also signed by none other than Peter Weller. And if that's not a number one, I don't know what is. Mic drop.
Number 1 on my top 5. First of all, let me just say, it's very interesting that both your number 1 and my number 1 are technically not toys. They're toy adjacent. I don't know what that says. There's some subtext there. There's something there. Maybe we're secretly longing to get out of collecting toys.
Help us.
And so, but this is the storied and beloved Skeletor toothbrush station. It is an electric-powered toothbrush. The thing that's funny about this is really, in terms of the mechanics of it and the gimmickry of it all, it doesn't really do anything. I mean, aside from the toothbrush is there, it is battery-powered. It is an electric toothbrush. On more than one occasion, I have heard people ask what it does. Like, people just assume it's going to be like animatronic. He's going to move or he's going to say something. No, nothing. It does nothing. But my God, if it isn't gorgeous. Again, look at this thing. Much like the He-Man toothbrush station, the Skeletor that they used, it's almost a dead-on recreation of the Mattel action figure. Like, if you didn't know any better, you would think that this is the Mattel figure. So it's one of the few pieces of Masters of the Universe non-toy merch that has like such a almost dead-on representation of one of the toys built into it. This guy is very hard to find for whatever reason. The He-Man toothbrush is easier to find, and while not cheap, the He-Man one usually tends to be much cheaper than this one. This is the single most expensive thing in my entire collection. And I'm not going to tell you what I spent on it, but I'll just say I had to get rid of a few things to pay for it. No one ever guesses that this is the thing. When I tell people, guess what the most expensive thing in this room is. No one ever points at this. It's because for as cool as it is, it's kind of unassuming, but this is it. You rarely ever see this. And when you do, it's almost always broken, it's stained, it's got toothpaste grime on it. It's people, believe it or not, people did buy these to use them. This, coupled with the fact that Skeletor is pretty much like my all-time favorite character from 80s youth-centric pop culture, this is a very special piece to me. I did not have one as a kid. In fact, I don't even think I knew these existed when I was a kid. This is not something I realized was a thing until many years later as a collector. But I love it. I adore it. And no, I have not brushed my teeth with it.
Not even once?
Not even once. I used the She-Ra one for that. But it's a beautiful piece, and I love it. When you were a kid, maybe mom and dad couldn't afford to buy you a Snake Mountain playset, but they could afford to buy you this little tiny Snake Mountain, which I think is better because it realistically it does about as much as the actual Snake Mountain playset did, which is damn near nothing. It's just about as exciting on the backside as the original Snake Mountain playset was. In fact, I'd argue this is maybe even a little more exciting than the actual Snake Mountain is on the inside. There you go. Number one.
Thank you all for taking this journey with us today. I'm glad you're still here. You made it. You can find us at all of our Secret Compartment socials, respectively, on the Instagram and YouTube, or our website,
thesecretcompartment.com.
Also, stay tuned and be patient. We should have some new stuff for you all soon.
I'm waiting for Grandpa to get out of the before we can start the next episode.
We're going to hell.
We're all going to hell.